Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. And today, as you can tell probably by the title, I'm going to be reviewing some Cecilia de Rafael tights today. And here they are. So these are the Cecilia de Rafael Cristal Shiny Tights. They're in a 20 denier. I have them in the shade Moreno and I have them in a size XL. And these are currently retailing on the Tight Spot, which is usually where I get all of my hosiery from. So I always use that as a reference point. But yeah, they are £7.95 on the Tight Spot currently. So a pretty good price for a very well-known hosiery brand. But I'm quite looking forward to these actually. They look super nice and shiny and the colour's lovely. Now I did have some Morenos. I think I had the Super Lucido Morenos, I think. But they ended up being no more. So it's nice to have the Moreno back because I kind of love the colour. But yeah, so standard CDR packaging, we've got the monochrome kind of colours and we can see the product right off the bat. So yeah, great. And we've also got, obviously, as always, that little window where you can sort of see them at the top there. They actually look quite a bit bronzy than my last Morenos. So we shall have a little look. My other ones were a bit more on the orange kind of colour. I used to call them my baked bean tights. So we shall see. And then on the back, we've got a lot of information. As always, generally, there tends to be a lot going on the back. So let's have a little look through that in a moment. Again, a little bit of the preview there. We've got the size guide and we've just got some information about the features of the tights themselves. So let's take a look and see what they say. So it says 20 denier sheer to waist tights with a beautiful shimmery appearance, perfect for glamorous shiny look. Dress up with party dresses or add some sparkle to your casual wear. These high shine nylon tights lend an eye-catching look, reinforced invisible toe and flat seams. So that's good. The reinforced toe, invisible toe, sounds quite nice. And yeah, let's have a little look and see. So we have, these go from a size 2 to 6, so a small, all the way up to a double XL. I have them in an extra large just because sometimes, depending on the elasticity percentage, I find CDRs can run a little bit small on my frame. But we shall see with these ones. And talking of the composition of them, they are 85% nylon and 15% elastane. So a good amount of stretch there as well. So we like that. 30-degree wash. And that's pretty much it. Packaging is recyclable, so that is good. Shall we go ahead and get them open? Let's. Okay, I can never remember if CDR do anything with their cardboard wrap. Wow, look at the colour of those. They are definitely not like my previous Morenos. They are much more bronzy. They're beautiful colour. Oh, this is going to go lovely with this dress. Okay, let's go. I'm excited to see them. Wow, they are very glossy, so we love that. Very shiny. Oh, pretty. Okay, so here they are. A lot of shaping to them as well. So let's start with the top part. Always go with the waistband. So this has, okay, yeah. a very, very standard waistband, the usual, the normal, a little bit of tautness to it, not too much. And then we have these little sort of gripper things on the side, these little bits here. They're kind of like an extra bit of elastic that stretches out just that little bit sort of more. We've got that on each side. Now, because these are an extra large, these have like a double reinforcement at the back. So we have the normal seam with the reinforcement at the front, as you can see, and then on the back we have the double there across. So that is in, let me just look at the box quickly. So in a size 5, which is an extra large, there is a narrow reinforcement at the back. And then with a extra large, there is a wider one. I'm not quite sure why they do that. Maybe they assume that the fabric stretches too much, so it needs that extra bit if you've got a wider bum, basically. And the smaller sizes, there isn't any. So I will have a look at, you know, obviously how they fit and decide whether or not to go down a size to sort of get rid of this. I'm not overtly a huge fan of the reinforced bit at the back with the 2 seams, but let's just see what it looks like. And then, are we a cotton gusset? Let's have a look. Let's look at the gusset, because we've definitely got one, but I don't think we're specifically, no. So we're not a gusset. We are just literally coming out from the reinforcement in the bum area. So as you can see, that's just that big piece of reinforcement, not actually a gusset, as it were. So I like it. From the front, it's that kind of T reinforcement, which I really like. And then we go down into the legs, which, as you can see, are shaped. The calf is shaped and the foot is shaped, which I always like. I find that gives me a little bit more fitting around the foot, because I have quite narrow ankles. So yeah, it kind of comes in a little bit more. So they're looking very, very fine. They are a 20. They just have a little couple of folds up the top here. I'm going to assume that that's where they've been folded around the cardboard. Here, they're not actually nicks, I think they're just folds. I hope so anyway. But we'll see when I've got them on, because they do actually make a bit of a fold. So if I just kind of, I know it's very difficult to show you, but if I stretch them out, you can sort of see them folding in on themselves a bit. So I'll have a little look at that. That's kind of towards and up the thigh. In actual fact, there's quite a few of them around here as well, on the inner side of the leg. Interesting. Not quite sure what that is. I'm not sure if you can see that at all. But here, here and here. So, I'll have a little look. I'm sure it'll probably stretch out and you won't notice it at all. So hopefully that'll be a good thing. But yeah, they are a real beautiful colour, actually, really stunning. And then let's just quickly have a little look at the foot. Yeah, so it is that invisible reinforcement, but actually I think that you can see it. You can see it with the naked eye at least, but you've got a slightly darker here, and then here is softer, so you've got a line coming around here. So yeah, these look super beautiful. They feel really nice. They've got a good amount of stretch to them. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pop them on, and we're going to see how they fit, see what how that extra bit of reinforcement kind of feels. I'm obviously not going to fully show you that, because that would mean me putting my bum out on YouTube, which is probably not what we're going to be doing. So yeah, let's put them on, let's see what they're like, how they fit, what the sizing's like, and what we think for the price. Okay, so as you can see, I have them on, and it took me a while to put them on. I actually had to put them on with some cotton gloves because I've got lots of long nails at the moment with edges that need cutting. So cotton gloves, much easier. Hopefully you shouldn't need to, but I think just because they're 20 denier, they always feel really, really delicate, and then mixed with the nail stitch. So they're on, and at the moment I can't tell whether or not they fit me 100%, which is kind of ridiculous to say, because they are an extra large, and I technically should fit into the large anyway without any issues, let alone the extra large. But this particular left leg feels really tight on the inner thigh, on the crotch area. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But visually they look incredible. The shine on them is absolutely stunning across the whole leg, catches the light really beautifully. They do feel a bit more bronzy than my other Morenos, but I think they're still that kind of bronzy, orangey kind of vibe to them. But yeah, they're gorgeous. They feel really quite unusual to touch actually. There's kind of like a bit of a kind of smooth plasticky feel to them. I think that's probably what they've been obviously treated with to have this kind of shine to them. So yeah, they feel a bit unusual to touch, so just be aware of the feel of them when you do buy them. They do feel a bit, I guess, kind of like you've put hair conditioner on them. They've got this really weird slidey, slippery, sticky kind of feel to them. They obviously don't feel like that on your legs, it's just a touch. But let's have a little look at the feet first. As it said, there is no invisible reinforcement, which actually I still think you can see a tiny bit. I don't know about on camera, but there is a little line just going around here, so you can see a little bit of it, but in the grand scheme of things, unless somebody is right up in your grill on the feet, they aren't going to see them. But they look super lovely on the feet, really nice, really sheer, really comfy. You've got that little bit of reinforcement there as well, so when you have got your shoes on, it's not really going to be a problem. But it's nice actually because the reinforcement doesn't break up the hosiery itself, so it really is kind of like sheer waist to toe, which is lovely. But yeah, let me kind of show you how they look. So they are super duper glossy, super shiny. Yeah, they definitely do have that more, I do call them my baked bean kind of colour, but they do have that more orangey kind of bronzy tone. But yeah, I still think they look absolutely lovely. The shine on them is really, really lovely. There's actually, for a 20 denier, they've got, and again I think it's because of that gloss and the colour, they've got a really quite a fuller looking coverage to them for a 20. So I think that's quite nice. I do genuinely think that if you wanted these for workwear, you could definitely pop them on with a skirt and tights if you've got like a really formal kind of work situation, or if you've got a bit more of a casual one, even something like what I'm wearing would be good for kind of like the office. But yeah, they are completely sheer all the way up. I haven't noticed any particular nicks with them or anything like that. They seem to be really good actually. Those little places where I said there was a couple of sort of fold lines, they have just sort of stretched out, so there's nothing to sort of worry about there. But yeah, I think these are really, really lovely. In terms of the fit round here, there's loads and loads of kind of room and give all the way kind of around this whole waist section. There's plenty of room there. Round the bum, it feels completely fine. It just feels like this leg on this side isn't kind of quite long enough. So this side has gone pretty much, you know, up where it needs to be, and this kind of, and whether it's got twisted or something, I'm not sure. But this feels a bit tighter. So it's interesting because they're meant to be 15% elastine, I think, and I would have expected them at an extra large to be almost me saying that I could probably do with the large because the extra large is a little bit big. But they're not, they actually fit. So just bear that in mind. I think if you're somebody who's quite tall, tall and slim, in theory you should be fine, unless they've made them a little bit short in the leg. Then you may have some issues depending on your sort of leg and torso balance. I have a longer leg and a shorter torso. I'm 5'7", so I guess I'm a little bit on the taller side for some sort of women. And I'm around a 12 on the bottom, so I would expect a large to be fine, an extra large to be very roomy, quite frankly, and it isn't. So yeah, bear that in mind. If you're shorter and curvier, you might want to size up a couple of sizes maybe. If you're around sort of my proportions, my figure, I would definitely size up. And again, maybe depending on how you like to have things fit, maybe size up twice. It just depends really. If you like to be able to sort of, you know, bend around and do all of those kind of things, yeah, then you might want to just have a bit more flexibility. Because at the moment, I feel like this part on the top of the thigh, because it's not sitting entirely sort of flush on the crotch sort of area, I feel like if I bend slightly wrong or maybe sit wrong, it might sort of, I don't know, you can have that idea that it might sort of split or ladder. So yeah, apart from that, just be very mindful of the sizing. Take a good look at the size guide. As I say, I'm 5'7", a UK size 12 on the bottom. Yeah, so if that helps, that's great. But £7.95 for a gorgeously shiny pair of tights, beautiful quality, and I think they look quite full coverage even for the 20 denier. I think that's a really good price, to be fair. I would recommend them, definitely, unless you're not a fan of super glossy tights. Otherwise, yeah, maybe skip them. But if you like that kind of look, these are perfect. So yeah, I would recommend them. And I think I'm still going to give them a 10 out of 10. Or am I going to be really harsh? I think generally a 10 out of 10. Maybe a 9.5 if I'm going to be really harsh, and that is just on the sizing. I think it needs to be a little bit more accurate. But yeah, they're a really gorgeous pair of tights. I highly recommend them. I know I've spoken to some of you in the comments previously and you have sung CDR's praises before, so I'm sure that some of you in the comments for this video are going to tell me that you have a pair of these or some of the other pairs and how good they are. So yeah, anyway, that is the tights and that is it from me today, and I'll see you all very soon for another one. Bye.